I'll start with a personal story, which actually many of the audience may relate to. Alnur and I, we were both born in Africa. And, when I came to the LSE and I studied, undergraduate, postgraduate, including PhD, religion was not on the syllabus, right? Yet today, if you fly into Nairobi, you can see from the plane, the cityscape is full of mosques, churches, temples. And the same is true of Bombay, Delhi, Mumbai, Paris, New York, many cities in the world. Faith has had a very big imprint on their economic life. I mean, if you go to old Mumbai, there are 6 fire temples in old Mumbai. That fire temples are of the Parsis, the Zoroastrians, who were at one time 10% of the population of Mumbai. And they also played a very important and continue to play a very important economic role in the success of India. I mean, Tata being the most prominent example. So, when we actually look at the origins of finance, and, at a very simple level, I start my classes by asking students to take out the note from their pocket. And, the note actually is nothing but a promise. It's a statement of trust, a statement of faith. And therefore, faith and finance have always been deeply connected and are continuing to be connected today. What has unfortunately gone wrong is the science of economics and finance, uh, which has tried to be very strongly secular and tried to almost ignore things like trust, relationships, and social capital in their constructions. Yet it is these factors which actually make finance tick, make finance flow, and help to build communities all over the world. I'm a Jain by faith, which happens to be one of the oldest living cultures of the world. And those of you in India would know how prominent Jains are in the economy and in industry and commerce. But worldwide, the Jains are successful in commerce and industry, and that is partly because of the tradition. I mean, I say that we actually have been accountants for 1,000 years. Al Bimani is a professor of accounting. The Jains have a long tradition in accounting. We have been treasurers to the kings and kingdoms of India. We've been chief ministers, and we've got surnames like Mehta, which effectively means an accountant or an administrator. So there is a tradition, and remember, these professional bodies were only created recently. But before that, there was training in the Varnas of India, where the training was passed from one generation to another. So we have the reality of faith, and there are what 1.3 billion Catholics in the world, an equal number of Hindus in the world. I mean, I was looking at recent survey data where the World Religion Database says that there are only 7% of the world's population claim to be atheist. It seems they are the ones who write the books of religion, of economics, or of finance. But actually, the reality is that faith is a part of everyday life and communities all over the world. And the canvas of faith is extremely diverse. So, for my books on Jainism and ethical finance, and my recent book on inclusive and sustainable finance, where I've looked at the plurality of faith and its influence on leadership in finance, I find some fascinating stories and examples of multi generational businesses and multi generational relationships which have built the kind of knowledge, the capital, the customers, and the stakeholders which have led to the flourishing of the family business. Just to give you one small example, the auto rickshaw, which is now the cheapest public transport vehicle all over Asia, the three-wheeler, was actually invented by a Jain, Mr. Navalmal Firodia, who was a freedom fighter in the independence movement and a lawyer by profession, not a businessman nor an engineer. But after India got independence, he had his Jain faith gave him this sense of purpose that I need to do something to develop the new India. And I need to create a cheap and affordable form of public transport. So out of that, if you like, religious vision came out this product called the three-wheeler, the auto rickshaw. And this has, there are millions of family businesses which depend on the auto rickshaw. The driver is a small family business of the auto rickshaw. So he created a whole ecosystem. And one of the things that when we talk about, and as we go in the conversation, we'll talk about sustainability being the biggest challenge today, how to protect the environment and how to live within our means. The faith traditions have, because of their spirit of equity, of fairness, which Adil just talked about, um, of responsibility, and this idea, the acceptance of death and hope for a better afterlife, drives leaders of faith to build businesses and organizations with this sense of meaning and purpose. And that is not something we can learn out of a textbook or in a classroom or even at a university, but it actually comes from belonging and participating in faith communities. Research shows that actually belief is not the central reason. Philosophy and belief are not the central reason why people join faith communities. They join to network, to find a sense of purpose, to to communicate, to build communities, even to find partners. Religion or religious organizations, in essence, are businesses. If you look at a mosque, if you look at a temple, if you look at a church, how do you organize it? How do we manage it? How do we run it? So they require those principles, and we have schools, hospitals all over South Asia which come from philanthropic donations by people of faith. So religion has actually a huge role in the world economy. It's what has unfortunately happened is that the science of economics has become very strongly secular and is actually denied, has been in denial of what is hiding in plain sight. Thank you.